Morning. Just waking up. I'm not a morning person. I'm extremely exhausted and I'm actually running late. So this is going to have to be really as quick as possible because I am trying to get to court this morning. And again, I'm not a morning person. So that I could hear the continuous testimony of the victim, the survivor in the Alexander brother case. One of the things that's been mentioned by a couple of people that's covering this case is that apparently the media, social media, a lot of people is not really interested in this case, which I find to be appalling. It must be nice to be rich, to be a billionaire, to be a millionaire, to have powerful friends all over the world, that you could have decades of victims, and nobody really cares, except for just a handful of us. So anyway, I personally did not know about the Alexandra brother case until I started covering the Diddy case. And after the Diddy case, I think it was two people. It was one of the content creators, independent media, but it also was a court officer at the trial, at the courthouse, because, I started forming a lot of great connection at the courthouse. It was them that was saying, "Oh, I'll see you in January." It was one of the court officers was like, "See you in January." I said, "See you in January." He was like, "Yes, that's when the Alexander brother case started." And I was like, "Oh yeah," I said, "I did hear about it." One of the content creators, I think it was that girl Henny. That girl Henny is the one that told me. She's independent media. She also have her own channel. She mentioned the Alexander brothers, but she mentioned it in passing because we was naming some cases. He's like, "Yeah, it's looking like to be, a really, a serious case." So of course, you get busy with lifing. The holiday was happening, everything was happening and stuff like that. So I let it, fall in the background. And I knew there's a big case that's coming up. There's a big case that's coming up. And I knew it had to do with some brothers. And I'm like, but I didn't know anything about it at all. So then I think I was speaking to Mel Smith of Watching the World, where he's like, "Oh, I'm covering the Alexander brothers case." I'm like, "That's right. I knew it." I said, "It started already?" He's like, "Yes." I said, "Okay, I have to go there because I wanted to cover the case because I've been hearing about it, especially anything that has to do with very rich, powerful people, anything that has to do with sexual assault, and it's a court case I want to cover. Any criminal case I want to cover, but definitely that because I don't think enough people are paying attention to it." So I said, "Started already?" He says, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to go." Now, again, life be lifing, and I got very busy, so I wasn't able to attend the first 2 weeks, but I heard from Mel that it was horrific. The testimony of the victims that's coming in, they're telling a story, they're telling their experiences with these brothers and stuff, and it was horrific. So finally, I had a chance to go, and the first day I went, they had like a government expert witness, uh, a psychologist, and it appears, good morning, it appears based, the government is brought in a psychiatrist that talks about trauma and childhood trauma and memory. That's what the person was there for. And she was very accredited, and at the end of the day, it appeared that the defense, which is the Alexander brothers, and they have 11 to 12 lawyers there. It's crazy. It's like the Brady Bunch lawyers. It's worse than the OJ trial. Each brother has several lawyers, so whenever it goes up there, it's like 11 to 12 lawyers go and speak with a judge. It's just insane. When you have that kind of money, it's crazy. It's crazy. Of course, Mark Agnafilio is there again. You know, the brilliant, the lawyer that got Diddy off, with even though Diddy is sitting his ass in jail right now. He's part of that case too. So as soon as I walk in and I saw Mark, I'm like, here we go again. Another predator that you're covering, that you wanna be a lawyer, a protector of. So anyway, Mark is there. and there's a bunch of other lawyers. So every time they go see the judges, it's like a fucking, like, I don't even know. It's like a sports game. I'm like, where the fuck are they going? Why do they have so many lawyers? Anyway, that's one thing. So anyway, the defense obviously, as they do, they actually objected to the expert. I'm not 100% know why, but they object. And the lawyer, because remember, I didn't cover the first 2 weeks. I just got there. So they objected. I think the doctor is Dr. Lisa Rico, Rocchio. They objected to her, and the judge says, overrules. We're going to accept her as an expert witness. And so I heard that she talks about her peer review. She's a consultant and a trainer for other professionals that deals with trauma and personal violence and memory. Okay. So she is a licensed psychologist. Okay. And I wrote here that the judge overruled the objection and accepted the expert. And, that's one of the things that Mark and his team does. And that's one of the things that defense lawyers do, especially defense lawyers who's covering for people with alleged crimes. And she also do peer review, right? Her research is a focus mostly on child abuse. That's what her research is. So that's the psychologist they have, and she had years of experience and stuff like that. So, of course, they would object to her being the expert because that's what they do. They try to putting a lot of cogs in the wheel to stop the wheel from moving, right? I said it 3 times. The judge overruled the objection. They accepted her as an expert. And that's when the first day I was there, I got there in the afternoon. That's when the judge was like, okay, everyone leave the courts. And that was not today. What's today? Today is the 13th. The first day I went there was the 11th. So the judge said, please, everyone leave the courtroom except for the lawyers. And that including Alexander family, which I didn't know that was the moms and the dads. Apparently their moms and their dads and their family members are there, right? The wife is there. Everybody was there. I didn't recognize them because, again, I didn't know too much about the Alexander family, the Alexander court case. But I realized when I was outside because they told everybody to leave. And I don't know how many reporters was there because it doesn't look like there's many media that's actually covering the story, right? Which was surprising to me because I really expected media to be there, but I didn't see a lot of media covering the story either. I'm just letting you know. It looked like I was the only one there, but I do see that there is a couple of maybe possibly independent media is there, but I didn't see any press. That's what I'm trying to say. I didn't see press when I was there. They could have come and they could have left, but when I got there, I didn't see them. So when the judge told everybody to leave the room, I left the room. Obviously, you have to leave the courtroom, but I decided to sit around because I wanted to see what happens next, and I wanted to be able to ask Mark Agnifilio a question. I wanted to ask him a question. So I said, let me sit outside and wait. So when I sat outside and wait, the judge had a conference with all the lawyers for quite a while. And then they allowed us to come back in. So when they allowed us to come back in now, the judge specifically asked the lawyers of the defense that, look, this case is going over time. You guys keep bringing up objections that I already overruled. Right? Now, I appreciate the fact that you want to build a case. This is what the judge is saying, and I'm not giving you word for word, but I appreciate the fact that you want to build a case. But constantly bringing on an issue that I already overruled is a waste of our time. And I don't see that it's having any impact to the juror. So what she's saying is that Mark Agnifilio and all those lawyers are about their bullshit again. And if you followed me when I was covering the Diddy trial, I told you the shenanigans that defense that Mark and Diddy defenders, the O.J. Simpson of the Diddy trial, tried to pull. They put a lot of objections that was unnecessary. They were very repetitive. They kept on trying to catch the judge on something, right? Now, this particular judge is not having it. She's like, look, I already overruled half of your objection. Why you keep bringing it up? Why you keep saying the same thing over and over again? It's a waste of our time. Because of your antics, you're delaying the time, you extending, or you causing additional delay, which is extending the time of the trial unnecessarily. I was like, yo, what the hell are they doing? So anyway, they're already pissing off the judge. The judge is like, yo, y'all doing too much. And she said it's not as if, and based on what I heard, it's not as if, and the judge is the Honorable Kimbo M. Wood. It's not as if you guys having any impact here. You're not having any impact with me. And looking at the jurors, you're not having any impact with them. It's just all theater and drama in order to protect their sexual predator clients. I should say there's three brothers, right? Three brothers who are a real estate tycoon who has been known even in the real estate industry to be doing these type of things. There are brothers who would use various very multi-millionaire houses and not even houses. They raped somebody in a cruise, Barbados, I believe, Sag Harbor. They talked about, somebody said Miami. So what they would do is they would invite these young people, these women, also underage, to these all expense paid parties and trips, and they will grape them, and not even one. Sometimes it's one-on-one, but also a group grape. And not only is the group grape, what they do is they actually rug them. So they will give them wine and drinks with rugs, and each victim at this time is repeating the same thing. They gave me something to drink. All of a sudden, I feel woozy. I feel like my head is not straight. I can't stand up. I feel sick. All of a sudden, my heart drop because I know something is wrong with my body. Then all of a sudden, I'm laying down and I can't move my hands and legs. And I just see flashes. I just remember the trauma through flashes, but I can't remember. And all of a sudden, I come into consciousness. When I come into consciousness, that's when I see them on top of me, or him on top of me. Or the next day, I wake up on a lawn chair. It's crazy. And this is why I call him the small preen billionaire predator. Small preen. Because it's only men who don't have sizes that feel the need to rug, coerce, lie to get some from either a woman or especially someone underage. And you would think that these billionaires would be able to do better, but no. So the only thing I could, besides them being a mental case, being psychos, is they don't have shit. Their money, their personality, their looks, they don't have shit to offer a real woman in a real relationship. So they have to take it. That's what I think about the Alexander brothers. That's why I'm going to call them the small preen, Preen brothers, because they ain't got it. So anyway, that's who they are. Let's continue. So that was the first day. Once I went back inside, the judge, apparently the defense asked for their discussion to be sealed. I find it very interesting that a lot of their conversations, a lot of their evidence, their photo, everything, because there's a few underage survivors that are going under pseudonym. Okay, so they're not being revealed at this time. Their name is not being revealed. So we can't see their photo. We can't see the pictures. We can't see the receipts. We can't see the ID. They're going under pseudonym. But their information is being kept from the public. I understand that, but there's also a lot of information about the actions of the Alexander brothers that are also being kept from the public eye. It must be horrific because that's exactly what they did with the Diddy trial. Mark and the defenders of Diddy was very good at keeping out what is called prejudicial evidence. But every time I'm turning around, they are holding back evidence when it comes to Alexander brothers. So I hope one day to find out exactly what they're holding back, because apparently everything that they've done is prejudicial to their case. But there was one key evidence that came out, though, that they could not get thrown out, was the fact that one of the brothers texted the other to say, hey, I just took down a 17-year-old. And he was 29 at the time, I believe. So that's illegal. So we got that. But there's other stuff that they're keeping away from the public, which is insane. So anyway, so I left the court the first day. They sealed the conversation, and I went to sit outside because I was trying to get Mark to ask Mark Adafilio a question, but he snuck out through the back. He didn't come through the front of the court doors. He probably saw me outside and he didn't want to deal with my questions, so he left. Because I'm surprised, because most of the time when they're the defenders, defending the lawyers, and the family is there, and the family goes through the front, the lawyers will actually go to the front also to speak to the family. But he snuck through the court to the back, so he couldn't get any questions asked. Yeah, I sat with the families outside. I think there was the mom and dad that was out there, and other family members, because and I don't know if they have steps, but definitely it was two older YT couples. I think they're speaking French, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I do not because I speak Creole and I can't detect any of the terminology. So they're speaking a language, and I have not identified the language yet, but I will, because I'm not sure where the Alexander brothers are from. And I have to say that the brother's name is Ty Alexander, Alon, and Oren Alexander, and there's an older brother, and there's twins. Apparently there's a fourth brother that has not been alleged with any of these actions. Just goes to show you could have the same mother and father, and three of your kids could be creeps and degenerates and grapers, and one of them could possibly be normal. But the older brother, I'm hearing, is in court also. I haven't identified him though, right? So then, let me see, Alexander brothers speaking. So when I went into the court, they had like 11 defenders, the 11 lawyers. The Alexander brothers could come in regular clothes. They came in their regular clothes. They didn't come in prison gear. When I came back into the courts, the Alexander brother was allowed to turn around and speak to their family members, to mom and dad. They were smiling, having good old conversation. Mommy and daddy were smiling too and talking to them. And obviously, I'm being told that mommy and daddy been there from the beginning, and they heard all the horrific things, including the crying witnesses talking about how their son raped them and rugged them, sorry. And they just still smiling and, and with their son in court. And obviously the Alexander brother think nothing of it. They have no qualm, no, to show that they give zero fucks, right? They have no conscience. This is why I think most of these guys are psychopaths. So anyway, I witnessed them having a very, cordial and very conversation with mommy and daddy, especially with mom. Dad wasn't saying too much, but moms was talking. There was a lot of smiling. Pending. Talked about the prosecution. The judge said to come back at 9 today. That's why that was yesterday. Next week. Okay. The judge was like, "We're running over time with the case." They asked again the defense to please stop adding arguments that she overruled already. It's just wasting time. It's not having an impact on the juror. I'm just reading my notes. Next witness. So then another thing. Oh yeah. So on the 11th, there was a big fight about a witness that they did not want to come in because they felt that the witness would have been prejudicial to the case. They did not want this witness to testify at all, and the judge overruled because the judge said, "Of course she's going to come in because she was there that weekend." And you gave me no reason not to allow this witness to come and testify. So they pissed off about that because there was a witness. I don't have the witness name because again, a lot of the stuff is being kept undercover. A lot of the stuff is being sealed. But the government won that. The witness that the defense did not want to testify is being allowed to testify because she said she was part of the same weekend. So I wonder if it's the girl named Ariel or the United Nations. Apparently, there was a United Nation worker that was there in one of the weekends that was very upset, that was trying to get into a room where she saw the brothers and others raping a girl. And one of the brothers got up and slammed the door in her face, and she was yelling, and she was like, "I work for the UN. I know what you guys are doing with girls in there." That is what one of the witness from yesterday testified to. So, but one of these witnesses, the brothers did not want to testify, and the judge said yes. So I hope it's the United Nation a person that was there that's going to be testifying too. All right, so that was on the 11th. So yesterday I went back in because I'm running very late. I should be out of here already. Okay, so yesterday when I came in, they finished with the psychologist. She talks about false memory. And I found out, I've tried to understand now, because I came in towards the end of the day. So she's talking about how there's no research that says that social media would impact a person's memory, or watching TV would give them a suggestion that something happened to them that nothing happened. So I didn't, again, I walked in towards the end of the testimony, and I realized what the defense is trying to do is the defense is trying to tell us in real life that these brothers did not grape anybody, that they saw social media and people were talking about graping in social media. And so they internalize that and make them into false memories. That's what the defense is fighting now. Saying all these witnesses that talks about them traveling and being raped and raped by these, and rugged by these Alexander brothers is all fake. They went on social media. They looked at movies. It's almost like the people that says that if you play video games that you're going to be a serial killer. That's what they're saying to us. They're saying to us that all these women have similar stories. It didn't happen. It's because they saw the Me Too movement on Twitter, and they heard other people's stories. So now they internalize and say, "Oh, it happened to me." So that's what they were arguing. That's what they were talking. So when the government finished, asked their questions to the doctor, the psychologist, and she talked about the research about there's no credible evidence that says that if you watch social media or if you listen to somebody else's trauma that you're going to internalize it and make it your own. That's pretty much, I'm saying it the layman way. Obviously, they said a lot more intellectual, bigger words than I'm saying, but I did. But so I didn't understand where that was going until the defense cross-examined her. Again, it was like, are you sure there's no research that says that if somebody look at social media or look at TV, that they could actually, what was the terminology? That, what was it? Hold on. When I said that. Defense redirect. She did get they got the lawyers, the psychiatrists to agree that researchers do disagree about certain factors, right? There have been studies that social media can portion a memory, right? There have been, I can't even read my own story. The power of social media, the last 5 years, that can distort somebody's memory. Studies show that it frames the understanding of their experience. If they are watching social media, it could create memories. Studies show that especially when it comes to child assaults, as they grow up, their memories. But she came back. She said, no, study shows that as if a child is assaulted as a child, as they grow up by them watching social media, right? It does not add to their memory. It can't. You can't distort a memory to a extent that if you were assaulted as a child, all of a sudden you look at social media as an adult and you're like, oh yeah, that's what happened to me. She said the studies did not say that. But he kept on pushing about the fact that the media, social media can impact victims and let them think that something happened that didn't happen, and she disagreed. So I'm like, these people are they're coming out of the woodwork with some theories. So that was the fight pretty much. And the expert did not said no, it's not possible if you have a trauma as a child because you're looking at a social media or you're looking at or you're listening to another victim story, you're not going to automatically recreate false memories, right? So she definitely did not really tore down the defense on that, and I thought she did a great job. So anyway, the witness came in. I noticed the guards were very protective of the witness. I haven't seen that in the Diddy trial, but I wasn't really in the court in the Diddy trial. Whenever the witness came, several guards would stand between the audience and and so the survivors could come in and goes into and sit down. So the victim name is Isa Brooke, Isa Brooks. That's not her real name. They showed her passport. And she said that she went, I'm just going to give us, because I'm running really late, guys. She said that she was invited by a party promoter to a party at the Hamptons. It was the weekend of her prom, but she didn't go to the prom because she wanted to go to this party because it was the Hampton party, and it was the first time that she was going to be invited to a very elaborate party, and she heard going to the Hamptons was the place to be, and she was very excited. She said that the next year she was going to college because she was just graduating out of high school, and the reason why she was 16 is because she was 16 instead of 18 or 17 is because she skipped kindergarten, and she showed her birth certificate to indicate that she was 16 at the time that she went to the Hamptons. So anyway, there was this guy named Mark that does a lot of parties. He's a party promoter, and she wanted to go to the party. So so she packed up all her bag because she knew she was going to stay at the Hamptons for 3 days and stuff like that. And she trusted Mark, who was a party promoter, and Ram is another guy. They have a partnership because she went to different parties with them. She also said that Mark, they know her age because she said that she's under 28 and she needed a legal ID to go to party. So they knew that she wasn't of age. All right. So she went over there and she went to the party. She said that she took all her bags. They went to Times Square and they took a bus to the Hamptons. When they got, and the party promoter name is Matt Littman. When they got there the first day, they went to a club. They had a great time. They had a club. That's when she first saw the Alexander brothers. They were sitting at the table, right? She named a few of them because she said that she could tell the difference between the twins because one of them have a sharper appearance versus the other one who has a softer experience. And she said that one of the brothers are shy. I don't think it's a twin. I think it's one of the older ones is shy. So she could tell the difference between all of them based on the way they look and their personalities and stuff like that. She said when she got there, even though she was 16, they had drinks at the table, and they gave her a drink and stuff like that. And then after that, when they went to the house, she saw the house was big and beautiful. But when you go to the basement, they had cots. And when she got on the bus, she realized there was a bus full of women, right? Some men. And one of the girls that was there, she knew two girls. She knew a girl named Val and a girl named Ariel that she knew and that she didn't expect to see there, right? So when they left the party and went to the house and stuff like that, she was surprised that a lot of people didn't come with them because she thought it was going to be a big party house. And when she asked Matt, why isn't people here, right? She said, no, I think that was the next day. But when she got there, she realized that there was a big room, right, that led to a pool, and there was a bathroom. There was also another room that had a stairs that goes down to the basement. When you go down to the basement is a room full of cots, cots where people sleep in the cots. And the cots was close to each other. And she saw multiple cots. So she was surprised about that. But when she got there, And again, I'm trying to speed up. I'll come back and give you guys more detail. She realized a lot of people that was at the party did not come to the house. So she asked Matt what's going on, what happened to all the people. They said Matt said they didn't make the cut. So apparently there was a cut that needs to be done, that if you come to a party and they don't like the way you look or the way you dress, you don't make the cut. So she said she felt kind of weird because there wasn't a lot of people there, but she also felt like, okay, I made the cut, so I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be partying and having a good time. So the next day now, they had a pool party. And when they had the pool party, she was in a hot tub, and she was in a hot tub with one of the brothers. And they gave her something to drink. And she, all of a sudden, she got up to go to the bathroom because she felt very sick after she had the drink. She said it felt like her head was woozy. She said she could hardly move, but she knew that she felt sick. She said her heart started pulsing, but she said also her heart dropped because she said something was wrong. She knew there was something wrong, and all of a sudden, like she knew that there was something wrong with her, and she couldn't figure it out. So she got up and she went to the room and to go to the party, and one of the brothers followed her. And I kept on saying, I thought the brother name was Paul, but I think it's Olan, because the way that she pronounced it went into went into the room. So once she left, he led her to the bed, and then after that he kissed her. And they said, how did she feel about kissing her? She said she kind of felt like surprised, because she said there's so many different people in the house, because there were still people at the house in the pool party. And she said he hardly spoke to me, and all of a sudden he kissed me. And I felt, at the time, I felt kind of like proud also, because he picked me out of everybody to kiss. So I felt like, and he's also, he was also attractive, because the lawyer asked him, I mean, the governor, this is the prosecutor questioning her. They haven't been cross-examined. She said, did you like him? She's like, because he was kind of cute. She's like, yeah, he was kind of cute. But she said she still was wondering what was going on, because she wasn't feeling well, and she hasn't had a lot of experience. And then you have this guy that's kissing on her that hardly spoke to her. She said next thing she knows, she has flash memories of being raped. And she was being raped by four. First, before she passed out, he did tell her, oh, my brother is coming in. And she's like, how did you feel? She said she didn't understand. What do you mean your brother is coming in? Right? She said she didn't understand, but she said she couldn't move. Like, it wasn't as if she could move, because they gave her something. So she said the next thing she knows, she just see flashes of different memories. So it wasn't only his brother, but it was two other people that raped her. That's the morning after she arrived at the house. Oh, and I have to tell you, when she arrived at the house, she didn't sleep in the basement because she was drinking that night, but they didn't rug her, but she was drinking that night. She said they didn't put her in the basement. She actually slept in a cot at the foot of the bedroom in which one of the brothers was in. And they showed her a photo of her sleeping in a cot in that bedroom that day in the trial. And they said, did you ever see this photo before? She's like, no. Apparently the brothers like to keep receipts. So there's a photo of her sleeping at the bottom of one of the brothers' bed room. You understand what I'm saying? The brothers was 29 years old at the time. She was a 16-year-old girl. And they have a picture of her sleeping at the cot at the bottom of the bed. And she didn't even know the photo was taken. I'm just letting you know. And they like to film and take pictures, by the way. So anyway, so she said that it was four of them. Guys, there was a guy with the long hair. There was the two brothers. And there was another guy that raped her. So she said that she remembered flashes, and she remembered the trauma and the way that they were using her body, but she couldn't move. And she remembered the words that they were saying, and they were saying some disrespectful, horrible, disgusting things to her. And then she said all of a sudden she became, hours later, so it started midday when she got sick in the pool, and they brought her into the room. But she said that she woke up and she started becoming conscious in the middle of the night, and it was dark, and she saw it was really dark in the room. And she said all of a sudden she could feel her body move. She could move one of her legs, and she kicked one of the guys, which is the guy with the long hair. She kicked him. He jumped up surprised that she could move. And then he got up and he left. And then the second guy got up and he's left. And then one of the brothers got up and he left. And I believe it was Olan. I think Olan is the one that sounded like more like Paul, because I keep writing his name as Paul. He said, when he saw that she was up, he said, "Oh, don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me." And he got up and he left the room and left her there in the bedroom. They asked her what she did after that. She said after a while, once her body started moving, she was able to get up and she left. And then she went to tell Ariel, that was her friend that was there. And they tried to figure out how to strategize how the hell to get out of there, because they were middle of the Southamptons. She had all her stuff with her. She didn't tell anybody really the where she was going. She, by the way, she was at a boarding house, boarding school. She wasn't with her family. They rich people, so she was at a boarding school in New York. So it wasn't as if she could go home, right? And she just almost finished graduating and stuff. She was supposed to go to college. So they asked her, what was the plan? And she said that she didn't have any plan. She couldn't believe that she was in that position. She was scared. She was there. She didn't have any support. Her and her friend was trying to figure out how the hell to get out of there. They didn't have any money at all because the trip was an all-expensive trip. They didn't have to pay for the house or anything, so she didn't come with any money. She was 16. She didn't work and stuff like that. So we left the trial, and then they're going to continue today, just trying to figure out what happened to her. She stayed there, and then she went to a couple of parties. She went to a party that last one I leaving. They went out that night afterwards, and she went back to a party. They said, why did she go to the party, the club? She said, I was trying to get away from the house. I was trying to push everything in the back of my mind. I was trying to figure out what to do not to be alone with them. And I was trying to stay with Ariel and stick with her as much as possible. So that's where they left. And when she said that she went to a party, I shook my head like, oh, shit. I know the defense is going to make a big deal out of this one. And then when I looked and read up on what the defense was trying to push, the defense is trying to push that every sexual activity with the brothers was consensual, that they didn't grape anybody. The women came willingly. They should have known if they were coming to an all-expensive vacation, they wasn't coming to play backgammon or Netflix. They should have known what time it was on and stuff like that. They agreed to it at the time, and now years later they're trying to claim that they were great. That's what the defense is pushing. And knowing Mark Alexande, the way he treated the Cassidy and the other survivors, he gonna call them all celeste hoes trying to get money. I already see what time it is. All right. So the court continues today. I am running super late. Guys, I will fill you in on what I find out today. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to read everybody comments. It's because I'm trying to say what I have to say. But I will read comments later. Thank you very much. Later. And again, the Alexande brothers is the small preen billionaire brothers, because they ain't got nothing. They can't have nothing up front. They can't have no junk in the trunk for them to be doing all of that to get women. You telling me that you're a billionaire? Your father's a billionaire? You have a successful company, even though I'm hearing that there was a lot of criminal activity behind there, but you have to lie, travel women from one state to the next, young girls, and you have to rug them. You can't even use your personality to actually get a woman. You have to rug them to have. That's crazy to me. All right, so here we go. I'm sorry, let me read a little bit, Brett. Good morning, pretty everyone. Double tap and smash. Thank you so much, pretty. We need to investigate what really is going on in the European YT household. I will definitely look into that. I gotta run because I'm running. Thank you, pretty, for being here. I'm sorry, I got to run because, and all of a sudden my phone is acting stupid. I gotta run, but I will see everybody later. Okay, bye. I gotta go to the court. Bye, bye, pretty. Thank you for being here. I will read your text next time. Okay, bye bye.